Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is David.
I'm Tina.
And this is our second ever collaboration video with our YouTube channel friends. And this month we have a special guest. So make sure when you're finished with our video that you hop over and check theirs out, because I'd be curious to hear what they have to say about this month's topic, which is
RV Essentials.
RV Essentials. What is RV Essentials? And we're breaking it down into 3 categories: what you have to have, what you should have, and what you might want to have. And so you just bought your RV, you're excited to go. So we're gonna start with the things that you have to have on day one. So at this point, you have pulled into the RV park, and we're going to base our video on a towable, because that's what we have. We have a 5th wheel, and this would apply, of course, to most travel trailers as well. If you have a drivable, a Class C or a Class A, make sure you check out the other channels. I know they have some of those as well. But you've just backed in and you're ready to unhook, and what are the first things you're gonna have to have? Well, it's not this stuff. You need to have your wheel chocks and your X chocks, and let me show you about that. Also, this is very important stuff, coffee. I'll get that out of the way. All right, so we're gonna start with wheel chocks, okay? And these are the heavy rubber wheel chocks, and you're gonna want this type and not the cheap plastic ones, because those are very lightweight. I've never used them, to be honest, but it's possible that they would crack easy. These are heavy, so they're not likely to blow away, you know, under heavy winds. I've heard that happen before with some of the lighter ones. But you're gonna want these to help stabilize your RV, meaning they won't roll forward or backwards, or at least hope not. As far as the wheel X chocks, let me show you those. So here, as you can see at our RV site, we have the wheel chocks here, and I have the X chocks. Now I use the BAL brand. They're all about the same, I think, but this is what we purchased. So we put the wheel chocks down. That keeps the RV from wanting to roll backwards. And on the other side, I'll show you why the X chocks come into play here. So here on the other side of the rig, we have this X chock in place, but notice we don't have any of the rubber wheel chocks, and that's because we are using these levelers to level the rig up. And you're gonna need those as well, because not every site is level, and you may need to raise the rig up and down with these ramps. Now these are better, I think these are better than the stackables, and I'll show you those in a moment. But this helps to, again, secure the rig, keep it in place. It keeps the rig from moving back and forth as much, and it adds safety for the rig not to roll back. I'm gonna have my Vanna White help demonstrate the stackables, which is right here. So yes, so these are what you can use to help level up as well. I bought them initially when we first bought the rig. I use them now, honestly, as just fill-ins if I need to stabilize something. I don't use these as my levelers, but you can, and that was the purpose of them. Okay, so now that you've detached and you have leveled up,
level complete,
and you've chalked your wheels, and you're nice and level, and you're safe, and you can detach your truck, now you need to connect your power. And you're gonna need to have at least something like this. Now this is a surge protector, okay? And it's a 50 amp surge protector. This will protect your RV from surges, okay? And surges only. You know, you just spent tens of thousands of dollars on a RV. Don't risk it at an RV park where the wiring is faulty or you get a lot of surges. This would at least help protect the electronics and the motors and the electrical, you know, system of your RV. Yeah, you'll definitely want something at least of good quality. You're gonna also wanna have a 30 amp dog bone adapter. And this will adapt a 50 amp plug to a 30 amp circuit, because not all RV parks are 50 amps. So this is something you would need to connect to your 50 amp power connector that connects to your RV. And this is what would go into the pole at the RV site, should it be a 30 amp only. And then something else you should have, a 15 amp It's a 50 amp connection. And you can use this for your home. You can just plug this into an electrical outlet in your home and plug this into your power cord that goes to your RV, and you can at least power up your refrigerator, TV. I wouldn't really suggest trying to run your air conditioning or anything, but just general stuff off of a 15 amp connection. All right, now that we have power connected to the rig, you are going to want some water. And to do so, the first thing you have to have is at least a basic water filter. And this is what connects to your, obviously your spigot at your site. And this will filter out, I mean, it does okay. It's enough to get you started. And before you exit this and before you go to your water line, you will also need your water regulator. And I would suggest not skimping on this. These can be 30, 40 bucks maybe, but a lot of water pressures at the RV parks are extremely high. And RVs are typically rated for, I think, anywhere between 40 to 50 PSI. And I've seen this thing, when I hooked it up at some parks, be 80 or 90 or 100 PSI. So that brings the water pressure down to what your RV needs. And you, for this one here, to adjust it, you just pull this up and turn left or right to increase or decrease the water pressure. But you're definitely going to want, you're going to need this to make sure you don't blow out the lines of your RV. And then after you connect the regulator, you're going to want some type of a water hose. And we have, we have three of these?
Yes.
We got 3 of these. We got 2, I think 25 footers and 1 50 footer. And you will definitely have to have, I'd say have to have a 50 amp water hose. that would not be good. 50 foot water hose. And then you can get smaller segments if you need to fill the gap. And we actually had that happen once before where we needed an additional 25 foot and we had it with this.
Yes.
But I would say at least get you a 50 foot. And I like these 0Gs. They're small, they're compact, they fold up easy, and you don't have to fight that big bulky water hose. Now, one thing we do one thing that we do is I hook this to a white water hose, a drinkable, they call them drinkable water hoses. So here is my 0 hose. And even though this is something you don't have to have, but this is a valve you can shut off. Anyway, I connect it to this white drinkable water hose, run it through and into my city water connection of the RV. Now, I used to have a 90-degree angle that would come down. I don't know where it went. I lost it. So for now, I'm just showing you what this looks like. And now, for last but not least of our have-to-have items, must deal with wastewater. And Tina?
When you say wastewater, you mean?
Yeah, basically the black tank.
Yeah.
And the gray tank. Now, it's not nearly as bad, if you've never done it before, it's not nearly as bad as you might think it is. I mean, I was scared to death the first time I did it, but it's not hard. But some things you have to have.
Gloves.
Good protective gloves.
Definitely.
Vanna, would you like
Definitely some good gloves.
Yeah.
You don't want to be touching those dirty.
Yeah. Even your stuff, you just don't want to be handling it with bare hands. Just get you something that's decent. These are latex free. They're 4 mil. So there you go. All right, we'll set that aside. Now, the things you have to have now that you need to connect up your black tank or your wastewater line. So the first thing, obviously gloves. Second is going to be your sewer hose. Okay, so we keep 2 of these in our RV, and the reason is because one of them may not be long enough to reach the sewer line that you're trying to connect to. And we had an instance where one was not long enough, and thank goodness we had the second one available to us to hook up. But you're going to need to have this. I would recommend getting 2. And the other things you're going to have are going to be ways to connect it to the RV. And you're going to need one of these And this is what actually goes into the sewer line in the ground.
What is that called?
Well, I don't know exactly what they're called, but
is it an L?
It's a 90-degree elbow, and this one's threaded. And you're going to notice on the RV parks, a lot of them have threads, so you screw this in and it locks it in place. You're going to also want to have, you have to have an elbow to connect to the valve of your RV. And yes, I recommend this is a have to have, because you really need to know that material is flowing out, and you need to be able to see it. As gross as it sounds, you have to see it. So these are the two things you have to have, along with the hose.
You mean the stinky slinky?
The stinky slinky.
The not so fun thing that you have to have.
Yeah.
You gotta have it.
And then another thing you have to have is one of these. And these are called, what are these things called? I forget what they're called. It's a track. And this, you set this up on the ground to keep the hose running downhill, so that you have a way to drain from the RV down to the ground. Also, a lot of RV parks don't want you leaving the hoses on the ground. So in this example, your hose would connect like this. This would connect into the sewer line. This connects to the RV.
So David, I can't believe you don't know what that support is. Right there. That's the stinky slinky sewer hose support.
Okay.
Not I don't know what it is thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, had a momentary lapse. So the second category are things that you should have. Okay, the first one was things you have to have on day one. These are things you should have. Yeah, maybe day two. Okay, so they are going to be, and in no particular order, but we're going to start off with tire safety. And we use the TST wireless tire pressure system. And these hook onto the stems of your tires, and it tells you the tire pressures, tells you tire temperatures, and it will give you a very loud audible warning should you have rapid loss of tire pressure, basically a blowout. The next item is going to be a tire, or an air compressor, I should say. And this is for, obviously, keeping your tires aired up. It's important to not only monitor your tire pressures, but make sure that you keep them at the proper tire pressures, right? 80 psi, for example. So you'll want to get you a decent air compressor, carry around. I just happen to use the Viair. Next item is going to be multiple fire extinguishers. And I keep this in the truck with me in the back seat, and I keep one in the rig, and of course in the one that comes with it, which is like itty bitty. So that one probably wouldn't be very sufficient, but you're going to want to keep a good usable fire extinguisher. This one's still in the good category. If it's powder, which they mostly are, you should on occasion shake them up. Also, you're going to want to keep I don't have it out here, it's kind of heavy, is a bottle jack. They're, you know what bottle jacks are. So 10-ton is what they recommend, or what I hear is recommended. So I have a 10-ton bottle jack. In the event you had to raise the rig up a little bit, change it flat. Okay, so should have an extra power cable. Okay, and the reason is, it's possible that the length of the cable that came with the rig is not long enough. And we've been there. And actually, we helped rescue a guy who came to a campsite near us not long ago.
Up in northern Indiana?
Up in Columbus, Indiana. We were up there for a weekend, and the guy pulled in. He had his only cable that came with the rig, and he needed a longer connection. I just happened to have one. He asked if I had one. I said, yeah, and he offered to buy it, and we sold it to him, and he was able to have a good weekend. Didn't run his weekend. And then back to power. Again, these are things that you should have. So earlier on the things you have to have was the power surge protector. This is not only a surge protector, but it is an electronic, well, it's an EPO. Will also monitor low voltage, okay? So low voltage is just as bad as a big spike. So this will allow you to protect the RV's electronics spikes and low voltages. And this actually saved us at a local park about a year ago, where I plugged it in and it wasn't allowing power to go through. Called the front office and came out and they said, yeah, we've been having power problems. And long story short, if I did not have this, what I had may not have worked. Yeah, I mean, I could have ended up not having a good weekend. There's a Watchdog, there's different brands out there, but this one I highly recommend. Like I said, it saved us at least once or twice. And it's got a Bluetooth connection on your phone, so you can check the consumption of power and if there are any high or low voltages. You're also going to want a basic toolkit, and you're going to want like screwdrivers, a level, if you might need a level. These have been great. These are multifunction. I think it's a nine way. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 6-way. Wrong. Anyway, these have been useful. They have the square bit. We all know about the square bits in RVs. But just a basic little toolkit. You might want to have some extensions, drill bits. You know, just again, just basic tool set. And last on our list for tools and hardware, you're probably want some extra fuses, electrical tape, maybe some Internabond tape in case there's a roof tear. You can, patch it before you have it professionally repaired. And Tina scribbled in here, outdoor area rug. Those would be something you probably should have. I would agree. Keeps from tracking in. Yeah. And chairs. So I forgot. I didn't think about that, but yeah, definitely have chairs. So you're going to want to have these. Otherwise, it could be a boring weekend. Standing by the fire.
Right.
Instead of sitting around by the fire. And Tina gets a C- for not putting the cap back onto the Valterra valve. But that's okay. We'll cut her some slack. But you're going to possibly want to have a Valterra valve. This is something that you should have. Don't have to, but you probably should have it to keep from having a messy weekend.
Fire in the hole!
So I heard David say that I get a C for forgetting.
C-.
Oh, a C-. Boo. For not putting the cap back on.
Okay, so one of the things you're going to definitely want to have is a dedicated black tank flush hose. So when you are at the dump station, you can hook this hose up only to the stations where they have the water supply in order to hook to your black tank. Now here are some of the things that you will probably want to have. So these don't categorize as need to or should, but maybe more like want to have. And that's going to be an impact drill or impact wrench, a set of impact wrenches. You will probably want a drill, just a regular power drill, in order to use the chuck here as a method to raise and lower the landing gear. And again, you might want to have a torque wrench in the event that you have to change the tire. Again, you don't have to, just get it tight, but you have a torque wrench to torque the wheels properly when you get a chance. And again, another item that you might want to have is going to be a backup camera for your RV. Now yours may come with one already built in, or at least be prepped for one. We happen to use the Halo View, but these things are very, very handy to have in the event that you want to see what's happening behind you. Also, you can record. Most of these have a way to record the video that is being displayed on your monitor. All right, so we finally finished up setting up everything on the outside of the rig. For the very first time we arrived, we've set up, we're secured, we got power, we got water, and we got our sewer connected. using the ramps. So the important stuff. All right, so now it's time to head indoors.
Head indoors. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk about what our first night in the RV was like. So
All right.
let's head on in.
Let's go in.
So, David and I bought our RV in 2019. We'd never owned an RV before. We always tent camped. So we were taking it out for the first time to the local state park. And I'm like, I have nothing. What am I going to take with me as my RV essentials? So everything I brought with us, I brought from home. And so I made it simple, not stressful. And I just kind of want to show you some of the things that I brought with us. So here we go. The things I brought from home are paper plates and napkins. Easy peasy. I also had some plastic dinnerware. Easy peasy. I also had some plastic cups and water bottles. I also bought a roll of paper towels, a first aid kit, and some Advil. I also brought a handy flashlight, so when we would take the dogs out, we would have a flashlight to use.
Yep. Also, just in general, if you need a nice bright light
Right.
at nighttime. Yeah.
And the most important thing is our coffee pot. I had to bring the coffee pot with some coffee and coffee cups. And don't forget your coffee filters.
Yep.
And then just to keep on hand, I brought some little pans, some little saucepans, which these little saucepans have been around a long time. We used them when we used to camp with our daughters in tent camping. And then just a little tiny cast iron skillet that I just use on the stovetop just to maybe saute up some veggies or just maybe cook an egg or two. It's perfect little size.
Yep.
And I think that we forgot to talk about one thing.
It was
that
one
we
critical
need.
piece.
The
Well,
night.
we were trying to drink a beer.
Yeah, the night that we stayed in the camper for the first time, we had planned on cooking some outdoors, but and have a beer. And I don't even remember what we were going to cook. But when it came time to open the beer, David forgot the bottle opener. And so luckily we were less than 5 minutes away from home. So David runs to get the bottle opener. And then while he's out, it's like, just pick up a pizza. So the first night in our camper, we had pizza and beer to celebrate our first night in our camper. So,
Which was good.
yeah, which was good, yes. So one of the things we did forget to talk about was when we were talking about something definitely was a necessity is our happy camper. And David, would you like to describe that?
Well, this is part of the black tank treatment that you need to have, and this would categorize under have to have. Now, it doesn't have to be happy camper, but you're going to need some type of black tank treatment so that it breaks down solids. When it's time to dump, it all comes out nice and smooth. So,
One of the other things a couple of other things I brought from home was a set of towels, just simple towels that I had from home, some hand soap, some toiletries. Everything came from home, so it wasn't expensive to buy the first time. And then toilet paper, of course, you're going to need that. And then, of course, we bought an old shower curtain that we had at home. We just brought it and used it in the camper. And then bedding. We needed to bring some bedding. We had to bring some bedding and pillows to set our camper up for the first time. So these were all the essentials that I felt like I needed for the first night to set up our camper. And we've grown since we bought our camper in 2019. We've added some, taken away some stuff. But
in general, I mean, things that we've talked about, we believe are what is necessary,
Right.
essentials.
Right. And, your first time in an RV doesn't have to be expensive. Everything we brought from home, we were already using at home. And so don't let yourself get stressed out. Make it easy, make it simple, and your first time owning an RV, get out and enjoy your time. And that's it. So I'm grateful to have our RV. And, these may not be your RV's essentials, but for me, they were essential for me to have for our first weekend.
Especially that.
Especially that, yeah.
So I hope this video of RV Essentials has been helpful, give you some idea of the things that you might need to help you get your RV adventures underway. So Tina, what else do we have to say?
So be sure to check out our other YouTube channel friends and see what their RV essentials are. And if you like this video and the content it contains, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Until next time.
Bye-bye.